I was just down at a commercial red potato grower's property, and he was kind enough to donate these red potatoes to me. Very nice gentleman. And I'm going to be planting red potatoes this year. This is a deep purple Norlands potato, or dark purple Norlands potato, and we're doing a little bit of experiment. We are going to be planting the first 7.5 feet of this potato bed with chitted potatoes. In other words, they've been cut. So you basically, in this particular case, they commercially cut these in half, one slice down the potato. And he asked me if I liked big red potatoes or small red potatoes. I told him I like small ones, and he said plant them 8 inches apart. So I've got my tape measure out here so you can see the distancing here. And now I'm going to plant them 1.5 inches deep according to the Mittleider planting sheet. So the first section here, 7.5 feet, we're going with these chitted potatoes. We're putting the cut part down. Generally when you chit them, you expose the meats to the air, so you need to let them dry out for a few days, or coat them with something to make them so they don't rot. So these have been taken care of. And then the next section, 7.5 feet, we're putting in whole potatoes. And we're going to see what the production is as far as, does a whole potato generate twice as many potatoes as a cut potato? I'm assuming that it doesn't. Otherwise, the commercial growers who get paid by the pound would be planting whole potatoes, and they don't do that. But we're just going to do a comparison at the yield to which ones produce more and how much more. Because if you can get the same amount at half the potatoes, obviously it makes sense to use half the potatoes. So I'm going to be planting this variety here for the first 15 feet of the grow box, and then another variety down at the end, the other half, which is a longer variety. It takes longer to come to be ready to be harvested. So to plant these, it's very quick and easy, and I'm going to show you how to do that using the Mittleider gardening method. Alright, so when you're planting, I like to use my bare hands. I don't particularly like gloves. You want to be on the opposite side of the box or the soil bed, and it should be one quick motion. You're going to take your hand, go down, you're going to put the plant, or in this case the potato, in, and you're just going to push it back. And that is done and done. So it's very quick to plant these potatoes, just like this. Now if you're not able to move that soil that easily, that means your soil probably needs some more work. I would make it nice and soft. This here is primarily sand and sawdust. When I moved the box, and put the dirt back in, the soil back in, I did get some dirt off the ground, but generally speaking it's sand and sawdust. So that's how you would do that. Now for me to do this row here, I will get on the other side of the box and do the same thing. So in less than probably 2 minutes, I'll have 15 feet of potatoes planted. When I'm planting these whole potatoes, I'm looking for the stem end, and I'm going to put that stem end down so this grows up. How important that is questionable, because obviously commercial growers who are planting these by machines cannot control if the stem end is down or up. So if you're not worried about it, which I'm really not that worried about it, or if you're not sure which is stem and which is not, then just plant the potato so you can see that these little eyes, or this is actually a stem here, that you have eyes pointing up. Okay, so there's an eye right there. Oh, sorry. So there's an eye right there, and there's the stem right there. So if you weren't sure and this was a whole potato, I'd plant it like this so that the eye is up. So due to the size of my greenhouse width, which is 20 feet, and the number of boxes I have and the size, the distance of the aisles in between, which is 3.5 feet. I don't have a lot of space over here, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to plant this, because I really want to be completely over here, both sides facing here. It's not possible, so I'm just going to go right here and just do it like this. Quick and easy. I could be going much faster if I wanted to. I'll go a little bit deeper. And there we go. Okay, now I need to water these in. As you can tell, the soil is very dry. You can start out with a little bit more moisture if you want. I'm just going to go down here and hand water. When I plant, I generally hand water instead of using the automatic watering system. I've got a stick here, so I know 7.5 feet where the chitted potatoes stop and the whole potatoes start. So I'm going to have to go back over here just several times, because you see the water is kind of sitting on top of the soil. So it's going to take a bit for it to wick in. And I've got a stick here at the end so I know where the end is. So I'm going to turn this off and go back to the beginning. And as the more water I get into here, the faster this will wick into the soil. And I'll just keep watering this until I feel I've got a good saturation of water in the soil. And I'll be able to tell that by whether or when the water starts coming out from underneath the 2x8s that I've got the box made out of. Well, I think I have watered sufficiently, so I'm just going to do a check here. Right here in the center, obviously the potatoes are planted on the end. I'm just doing a check. I'm going all the way down to the bottom of the box here, making sure that soil is moist. I can feel that it is moist. There's a lot of dirt in this soil here. So I am probably going to take all the soil out at the end of the season and replace it with new sand and sawdust. Over here, you can see there's a lot of dirt in here. Again, this happened when we mixed, when I moved the boxes, and you can see there's a lot of dirt in here. If you come over to here where I've put in the new sand and sawdust, it's much cleaner with just literally just sand and sawdust in here. No dirt from the area. This soil has already had added the Mittleider weekly feed and the pre-plant nutrient mix. So I always do that when I mix up the soils, so whenever I'm ready to plant it, I know the box is ready to go. To learn more about the Mittleider weekly feed, really the key to my gardening success, and along with the Mittleider gardening course book, go to ldsprepperstore.com, and you can get the Mittleider gardening course book there, and the trace micronutrient packages, which you would mix in with other fertilizers to fertilize your garden, give your plants all the nutrition that they need. So I'm done with these red potatoes. I will mark here on the side of my grow box that this is the end of this variety, and I'll also mark that that's where the chitted potatoes and the whole potatoes end, because these sticks would get knocked around and knocked out, and by stapling a marker on here and writing on there what's going on, I know that I'll have that through the whole season. In 2 more weeks, I will have the other potatoes, the other variety, and I will plant them over there, and we'll have a comparison between production, flavor, time to harvest, all those kind of things, and be able to be enjoying some awesome homegrown potatoes. It sounds almost like a song that John Denver would sing. This is LDS Prepper reminding you, if ye are prepared, you shall not fear. And I would encourage you to go get some organic potatoes. They don't need to be seed potatoes. You can get them at the grocery store as long as they're organic, because if they're not organic, they've probably been sprayed with something to stop the potato from growing, from sprouting. So those will not work in your garden. Go out, get some seed potatoes, get some organic potatoes from the grocery store. Cut them in half is what I'd probably recommend. So you have at least 1 or 2 or 3 eyes on each section, and plant them and enjoy your potatoes at home.